People, they say, take about 21 days to change a habit. It's been over 90 days that people have been toying with this new way of working, and therefore their aspirations have changed. One of the very interesting things that we saw is that people are now looking at creating multiple sources of income, and organizations looking at multiple skill sets. Now, all this you've seen earlier, and we also saw how some of you wanted to go deeper into it. And I could not be more grateful today because I have my friend, philosopher, guide, mentor of sorts, Suresh Dutt Tripathi. He needs no introduction. The organization he leads needs no introduction. Still, as a ritual, I would tell you, Mr. Suresh Dutt Tripathi is the Global Chief Human Resources Officer of Tata Steel, the biggest and the best known company from an HR perspective. Mr. Tripathi will talk more, but I am very, very intrigued by the fact that it was Tata Steel that started the concept of performance management way back, Tripathi Saab, in 1872, if I'm not wrong.
No, around 1920s.
1920. I still remember the time when you hosted me at Jamshedpur, and I had the great privilege of visiting Tata Archive there. I clicked a picture of the very first performance appraisal document in the world and posted it online, right? So there. Uh, Tata Steel, in fact, is best known for its industry-changing HR practices, whether it is benefits, 40-hour week, 5-day work week, and so many other things that the world actually got from Jamshedpur and from Tata Steel. When I was talking to Tripathi Saab on this new development of Generation R and how the workforce is evolving, I was very intrigued to notice that he said, you know what, Shaakun, some of these things we've already done much before anybody else thought. So I thought I'll request him to be our guest today and talk to us about it. So Tripathi Saab, once again, thank you so much for taking time out being here.
Pleasure. Me, thank you.
What are your high-level views of the things, the way they are evolving and these changing? What do you think where we are headed from a talent and from an HR perspective?
Yeah, so first of all, thank you, Shaakun. Thanks a lot for giving me this opportunity of speaking to you, and through you, maybe another set of people. It's a nice, I would say, initiative that you have taken. I think it'll be very nice for all the professionals. So thank you for inviting me here. So going back to your question about what is going to change, as you rightly said in the beginning, that work, workplace, and workforce, all the three are undergoing the same kind of experience of the environmental change which are happening in the business environment. Because everything is getting impacted by the same issue of coronavirus. In the process, many people, many organizations have taken those steps that were supposed to be future. So the future is here, actually. It has already come. You know, we used to talk about it, yeah, more flexibility, more mobility, work from home, maybe different kinds of workforce, different structures, more flexible, and all kinds of things we used to talk about it. That is how the future will be. But all this perforce have got implemented now, and hence the tomorrow's requirement will be very different. Things are evolving, and nobody knows what will be the tomorrow's organizations, tomorrow's worker, tomorrow's workforce, tomorrow's workplace. But it's a great opportunity to experiment everything, because nobody knows, and hence you don't know what will actually work. There are some trends, some way of thinking and, you know, creating scenarios, and you can plan it. So if you look at the nature of talent, that's going to change that lifetime employment in an organization, which used to be more from the safety of a employment, and then you, once you're there, you are in your comfort zone, and hence you continue, and then you the organization also takes care. So it was a symbiotic relationship that used to build and it to pull you through the life. I think that is going to be challenged and it's going to be changed. Reason being, the opportunities will be plenty for people to see different organizations at the same time. And I think this is an opportunity which, given the nature and characteristics of the new generation, I think they would love to do it because they are more adventurous. Perhaps they would like to see that variety which is there. So why not? So opportunity provided because of the situation, and they are opportunity seekers who are the new generation, and hence new things will evolve.
So, Mr. Tripathi, this is very interesting because you brought out this very interesting paradigm of opportunity seekers, and therefore either the obligation or the opportunity for an organization to provide those opportunities. Now, one of the interesting fact that has come out is a large chunk of working population now wants to have multiple sources of income. At the same time, in most of the countries across Asia Pacific, we are seeing that there are very strict norms around employer employee relationship, conflict of interest, and most importantly, having a single source of income. How do you think this expectation is evolving? What does it mean for employer employee relationship? And therefore, what is it that the organizations will need to do? And I know there is a much deeper Tata Steel story which I ask you in a moment. But tell us at a macro level, what does it mean, and therefore what organizations must do now?
Yeah, so I think one trend which is coming is that of specialization. Any organization will not be able to afford all specialists together because you don't have that much of work, full-time work for all the specialists together. So this is a fact, and that fact can be, can be helped by engaging experts for the work that you need them for. And hence, this also provides an opportunity of creating that flexible way of people. If you have an expert, the expert not only works for you, but you allow that expert to work for others as well, as you would like other experts to work for you. And in this process, this the practice that we had, the norm that we have, that if you are an employee that you can't work for another organization, I think that has to go. And you will have people who will be working with you. They may be on your roles but working for another organization as well. They may be on roles of multiple organizations, and you have to accept it. Because if you need talent, if you need those experts, then you have to accept this condition as well. So organizations which will remain closed to saying that your employee will not be able to work or will not be allowed to work anywhere else, despite the fact that the person spends only, say, 8 hours, out of 8 hours, spends 4 hours a day on the job which is there at hand and sits and does nothing, versus allow that person to do anything else outside. And the expertise gets honed over a period of time because of the multiple exposure that this expert also gets. So there is a win-win for both, win-win for the organization and win-win for the individual. Individual not only earns a little extra, but also gets exposure, and hence expertise of the person also goes up. So I'm saying in plain and simple form, it is a win-win for both, that you allow people to work in multiple organizations. A person may choose one's organization, but should be allowed to work for multiple organizations. So, and that why choose is also, for a reason that you need an identity as an individual, because you take pride of, the way things are even today. We take pride in talking about our organization because there's something which organization as a body creates, which I as individual can't. So I need that identity also. And it's okay. People can choose which organization they want to be full-time in the sense be on the roles is as employee, and there's set of benefits, set of, things that come along with it. that they get from that organization. But
Paraphernalia
yeah,
of a role, job, and a career that way.
correct, correct,
In fact, it's interesting you talk about choices. I think choices not only for individuals but for the organizations will also increase. In
correct,
fact, as per a Gartner study, the focus for organization now is to bring the critical skill sets and not necessarily fill in the critical roles. So I think over a
right,
period of time, roles are losing their relevance. Individuals will have to now rethink their career strategy because we cannot have role-based ambitions or role-based career plans. From an organization's perspective, it means that organization will have a choice of a full-time worker, a part-time worker, a gig worker, or even a machine worker. And as
correct,
us as humans now will have to compete with machines. And like a machine is capable of earning at multiple places, serving multiple individuals and organizations, I think that kind of mechanization is happening with us. And it's very heartening to see that, and I'm saying it as more of a compliment to Tripathi Saab, that a very old traditional organization like Tata Steel is leading the way in this thinking. I have spoken to some very new age industry organizations where signing those bonds and those kind of, I would say, restraining practices are still sweared upon, and a lot of people are in their mind struggling on how do we get around this. Now, I know you earlier discussed that Tata Steel has already done something. Please share with us what you have done and how it can be once again a guiding light for the whole industry.
okay. So before I come to the that piece, I thought it will be good to tell that, good to share here that as Tata Steel, we believe that all the employees today are like volunteers. And when I say volunteers, that means they contribute because of willingness, and they have a choice of going anywhere else if they want to. And what actually holds them is the culture, the feel of the organization, the freedom, the flexibility, a whole lot of peace, whole lot of things, which are basically which uh, provide and what is called as the workspace that the individual feels. So we provide that space where people can be free to express, and people are free to choose things. Uh, Coming back to the piece that I was talking about, somewhere last year we had looked at, and I think we thought that why not allow this freedom of people to work for some other organization as gig worker while working in the organization today. So we created the whole concept, and we did a small pilot. And the whole idea was that there are a set of people who are working, say, in maintenance area. These are blue collar workers working in maintenance area. And since over a period of time, our maintenance practices have improved, our reliability of machines and equipments has gone up, and hence availability has gone up. So breakdowns are very few. And requirement of maintenance crew has to be there because in case anything happens. And hence that set of people are there. But most of the time they have to sit and do a little bit of job about planning and the rest. But then beyond that, they're free. So what we thought is that something like what we call as white space in a canvas painting. There's some spaces where you can still fill some color. So we thought, why not we create these white spaces with some color? And that could be that, what if we train them, provide this infrastructure, train them, and let them work during that free time as gig worker for any other organization? So in the process, these questions came. Oh, one employment, one company, one employee. So how can it happen and all that? We said we'll break all that, because who is the one who is stopping it? We only are stopping. But if we allow, then it is allowed. There will be many questions. There will be many things which will come later on. People will have different other modes of employment and everything else. So it's okay. We'll see how do we channelize it. But let's break this myth to begin with. And we said that we'll create. So we created a small place where these people, where they sit and wait. I think that place itself. And we said that the infrastructure which is available, we can convert, we can add that infrastructure, including connectivity and everything else, and get some work from outside, train these people and allow them. So if they can work for 2 hours, 3 hours during that period when they're free, they get trained in something which is different. They get paid for that. We said payment for that is free. They can take that payment, it is theirs. We are not taking anything out of it. So what is happening is that this set of people can work, get the earning, and they're also getting ready for a new way of working going forward, and have a very positive impact on the rest of the organization, because everybody would like to. Why not? So in the process, we have started in a small way to begin with the pilot. We are trying to, so we created the taxonomy around that, unit of work and how it will be, and all those things.
So this is
And
really path breaking, and I think while a lot of people are contemplating this idea, it's great to see that you've already rolled it out. I've got two very specific questions that I'm sure everybody who's watching this has on mind. One, how do you then manage employee engagement and productivity in this kind of a scenario? I am and I must continue to be first uh, first committed to Tata Steel and my primary, role that you mentioned. But at the same time, I have a like a live-in relationship with another opportunity there. So how do we manage this balance from a productivity, engagement, and loyalty standpoint? And then the follow-up thing that I would want you to comment is how would this thing manifest for say senior roles or leaders? You mentioned this is a pilot for blue collar right now. So long questions. Please help us understand that.
yeah, so the first thing in terms of saying that how will it impact the engagement piece, the productivity, that part of it, and how it is, um, how it will not distract people from being a part of Tata Steel and loyalty and commitment towards the organization. My take is different. My take is that actually it will enhance the commitment part of it. It will enhance productivity, because we have to slowly shift from activity to outcomes. And this is a good way of looking at the outcomes, because if you am clear about what outcome I have to create and what outcome I have to, my delivery is an outcome. In that case, I start learning, doing things better for that outcome, because I can use my time for something else as well. So rather than filling up the whole time with one set of activities which creates an outcome, I do that activity in smaller amount of time, and then I use that time for something else. So I become more productive. So I'm adding to my productivity rather than reducing productivity. And that immediately impacts the organization, because same thing can be done in a shorter period of time with a set of people. So the maintenance piece which was done in 8 hours can be done in 4 hours. What else do you want as an organization? We are doing, we'll find that it is good. Why not? Two, this flexibility is something that we are doing, and we have done it. The moment people know about this flexibility and the kind of trust that the organization has on them, in that case, the engagement, trust, credibility, everything goes up. And we are seeing that people are looking forward to meaning in job. People are looking forward to something which is where there is no supervision with respect to task. The supervision is only with respect to helping and support. So there's a shift in the role of managers also, in terms of supervising the job to now supervising as a support to the individual for what needs to be done. So I think all these things are so interconnected that once the organization believes in the process, all these things get aligned, and slowly will be giving you what you require. So organization requires productivity. You have highly productive workforce that you have, engaged people because they are happy, they feel that they are trusted. So I think it is something which we believe will happen, because yeah, it's too early to say, but yes, it will happen.
No, I think intuitively what you are saying makes so much of human sense because you're right. When organization is allowing me this, it's putting a lot of trust in me, and therefore I've seen it's like my grandmother always used to tell me that if you will stop somebody from stealing, they will steal. But if you will trust them, let them be their own decision makers, they wouldn't. And I think this is pretty much relevant here because uh, holding people back from something is a restraining factor, and people then get really motivated to go and try that and do that. So I think this is interesting.
Right. Very true.
My question was also about how does this manifest for senior leaders or
Yeah.
more
Yeah.
white
Yeah.
collar employees.
Yeah, sure. So we are also looking at that in the white collar. It is likely that we have multiple experts in different areas. So we're saying that in white collar, this set of people, we can also not only that, we can offer them not only they themselves, but we can offer to the world that we have this expertise. In case somebody is interested, they can help, and then there could be an earning and whatever it is, it's like consulting. So a whole lot of the leadership can be used, can work as a consultant across, and they can work as a consultant. So instead of a freelancer, here a regular practicing manager, a leader, can become a consultant as well. And he not only has the expertise as a person, he or she, but also has a team of experts in his or her team. So one goes along with that expert. So so what we are looking at is that can we create, so we have created number of verticals now. We have created and found, listed down all kinds of expertise which is available, and we're in this process that we'll be offering people.
This is very interesting, and in fact, scary as well. I've spent a lifetime in consulting industry, and I'm just thinking what it would mean from the consulting industry, which is a multi-billion-dollar industry. It could be a big, but then of course, everything in the end turns out to be very, very positive. Now,
Right.
before
So here I don't see a conflict with the consulting industry, because it's good for a consulting organization where they can use them also as a consultants.
Hmm.
So they have larger talent available, larger set of people who may not be on their roles, but they have as an expert which is available. So it's a win-win. So they can become a means of any kind of consulting.
So, Tripathi sir, there is one more question that is coming in my mind, which I would request you to answer is till about a couple of months ago, the world was about talent hoarding. We even have things like bench and hire best people, just keep them locked inside to avoid them going to competition or whatever it is. Talent was that goal. Now, from that kind of a mindset, now you are completely on the different edge where you're saying that, hey, my talent is open for all. How did you create this change in the thinking of the organization? Because I'm sure, like I'm thinking, everybody would think, what would it mean? This is my competitive advantage, and I'm now putting my competitive advantage for everybody to use. So, a few tips from you on how did you manage this change of mindset in the organization? I'm sure at the board level, at your CXO levels, there would have been some interesting conversations.
Yes, very right. So I think it's very interesting. Um, See the flexibility which has come in last 3 months with respect to uh, who can work from where. Uh, that is a major opportunity if you look at it and if you use it. Otherwise, a major constraint. So what we looked at, and we found that while people can work from home, and this is something which is going to be the new normal, we should also practice this immediately. And as one had never thought that a steel company can be managed from home. And we are managing from home for last 3 months, and it's seamless. Everything is happening from there, including, and it has helped us in terms of converting many things which we should have converted earlier, or in future we would have planned to convert. All that has been converted, and there's hardly anything everything contactless kind of, including lorries and trucks which come from outside carrying. Earlier they used to carry a bundle of documents which used to be examined and checked at the entry level, and then they will come in. But because that document is being handled and it should not be touched by our employees or anybody else, and hence we push ourselves to think of something else, and now it is all completely contactless and completely digital. So in the process, many of these processes are being done digitally. So then we have also found that the people who are available to us in terms of doing something more than what they were doing earlier. This is first piece. Second, once they are away, they are not in your sight or line of sight, what they are doing is their choice. Now, if you be a part of that or help or support in choosing that as well, then you continue to be there. Otherwise, you are a deterrent. You are a hurdle in their choosing something. So why not use this opportunity and become a support and help in that choice, so that they always continue to be with you in again and making another choice whenever they want, because the trust level goes up. So I think this was something we felt, and that is when we also looked at that this also gives us opportunity of, the individual also is gaining something and we also gaining something as an organization. So why not we do it? So we created a project around this, and we started working on it. We're best of people there to look at that, what can be done, who can offer what, and things like that. And we have started doing that now.
Very, very interesting. Over the last 150 or 200 years, I think there's hardly a time or a cycle or a crisis or an opportunity where the world has not learned from Tata Steel. And I think this is yet another example. So mind-boggling. Thank you so much for that. I know this is a very interesting conversation, and I wish we had all the time, but since we have limited time and it's Friday evening for you as well, sir, what is your
Thank you.
message to all the business leaders, HR leaders, CEOs, CXOs who are looking at it when they get into this new normal fully? What are some of the things that they need to bear in mind?
I can only say that just be open to whatever is coming way and see that as an opportunity. Challenges are there for managing the current, but huge opportunity which lies ahead. Please be open and use that. Make use of that opportunity. Many new things will happen. Many things which will be useful for individuals, for teams, for organizations, and industry and nation as a whole. So I'm saying that's just be optimistic and use that opportunity.
Very interesting, and in fact, technology is really opening up those venues today. In fact, while you were talking about creating that project and kind of a marketplace, I'm very proud to say that today there are technology platform, Oracle being one of them, where we have introduced the concept of internal talent marketplace, where actually these opportunities can be marketed and people can volunteer for them and do whichever way. But what is interesting is, Tripathi Saab, as a consultant, I always often hear a lot of companies say, hey, you know what? We are different. Our culture is very different. It's not very easy for us to change. You don't know this. The truth is, every organization, when it has the right kind of leadership intention, can do that. Tata Steel is an example of best managed organizations that would have all sorts of complexities. You are a traditional industry, you are manufacturing. You said, who would imagine that a steel company can be managed virtually? You've done it, right? And it's happened. You are a 100, 200-year-old organization, and therefore, biggest impediments for change are those, old cultural
Yeah.
that my clear view today is that if Tata Steel can do it, anybody can do it, right? So thank you so much once again for sharing this. I'll keep on coming back to you.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot. Pleasure. A pleasure talking to you always. Thank you.